Welcome back to On the Cusp, and here with me again today is my co-host Matt Snyder, and a really special episode here today because we've got Sabrina Adsit, helps us with our marketing, but she's actually an Air Force wife, Texas girl.
Texas.
Got married an Air Force guy, first duty station, Barksdale Air Force Base.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us about that transition.
Oh man, you know, I look back at that time, I was so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed because I moved here after having lived in New York City, got engaged, moved home to Houston to plan my wedding, moved here at 23 years old after Lance and I got married, and was just so excited. I mean, I was going to start my career in this new area with my husband. You know, we'd heard mixed reviews about Shreveport before moving here, and the drive down to scope it out to try to find a house, we were just unsure. And then as we're driving into the city, we stayed at a friend's house. That weekend, we kind of just bopped around town, Line Avenue, the little shops, and fell in love with it quickly. The people were so wonderful. Everybody was really welcoming to us being here, being military, excited to have, you know, fresh young couple in the Shreveport area. And quickly, I just quickly fell into the community through the help of the Shreveport Chamber, who introduced me to Liz Swain, who then introduced me to my then boss, that would be my boss for 7 years, who really just set the path of my time in Shreveport.
Right.
I had such a great time in Shreveport because I got so involved in the community through, I was working for the Film Prize.
Right.
And it was a high profile job, which really set me up for success for those 7 to 9 years that we spent in Shreveport.
Right. But I think one of the things that you said is really key. You didn't wait for anybody to invite you, okay?
It's not my personality.
It's not your personality, okay? You came right out of the starting gate. You got engaged. You went to people like the Chamber, you said. You went to Liz Swain. You kept building that network, okay?
Yep.
And lucky for us, okay, you ended up at the prize. And
yeah.
Heck, now you're in Washington, D.C. You guys got, you know, Lance has got to do his time in the Pentagon.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
And you're still helping, you still have a lot of clients here.
Yes.
In Shreveport.
Yes.
Okay.
And happily so. I love coming back to Shreveport. I mean, there are not a lot of people that can say they spent, especially in the military, most people cannot say they spent 9 years in one place. You know that.
Yeah,
You're
I never spent 9 years in one place.
I was about to ask you about that because I'm thinking like all the years of being in Shreveport, I bet you I can count on one hand the military people I know.
Yeah.
You know, like
here.
all these people were here for Barksdale and you don't meet any of them. Why is that, I guess, first? And then like how can we change that, or should we change that?
Yeah, it's such a loaded question because there are different types of people that move to this area that are military, right? You've got the young newlyweds, like my husband and myself, whenever we came to the area. You have the young families, the couples that have just started having children, coming to the area. And then you have the airmen who may be single, they work, they deploy, they come back, they deploy again. So it's hard. Everybody's on a different path in Northwest Louisiana. So for us, when we moved here, what we were interested in and what we were looking for in the town that we were going to be living in would be totally different than what we'd be looking for now, moving back with a 1-year-old, you know, a child. So Matt, you do such a great job, and what I loved about working for the Film Prize is providing these cultural experiences for people in Shreveport. I mean, there are so many activities to do here. whether it's a wine event that you're putting on, or a 2-week-long festival that the Film Prize is doing, or you've got Mudbug Madness, you've got different events throughout the year that speak to everybody in Louisiana. But I think when moving to the area, we moved to Bossier. That was the first place. I mean, we rented a house in Shreveport, but we were told, you know, we'd be here probably 3 to 4 years. We bought a house in Bossier thinking we'd be able to sell it, and then we'd be out of here. That was not our story, luckily. And looking back at that, I wish we would have bought in Shreveport, because the friends, the community that we got involved with are all in Shreveport. And a lot of our friends live in Bossier, but I think that all depends on where they're working too, or if the spouses work, or if it's
I can speak from my personal experience in that journey. You know, Jamie and I always, 2 things drove what we did, right? The schools, where are the kids going to school? If you're in that particular path, where are they going to school? And where are the houses in that school district that we can afford?
Right.
Okay. That drove our decision process right there. And then depending upon where we were in that particular phase of our career really drives that. But Matt and I always have this discussion. Do we have enough cultural events and festivals in Shreveport that when somebody new at Barksdale, when they come in, can we make them have something for them to do and feel part of that?
Yeah, I think that's all about the marketing to the base. I mean, do you, as an events, the event guy in Shreveport, do you market to Barksdale at all? Are you taking out ads in there?
No, and it's interesting because like when I started my company, even before the events, I feel like it was easier and we did more advertising for my clients at Barksdale.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know when, but I do feel like at least I'm not very in tune of how to market there. And I know a lot of it got more expensive.
Yeah.
Like it is not cheap to advertise in the few advertising pieces of Barksdale. So that's always an interesting look when you're looking at a marketing budget.
Yeah.
Am I really, for a small business, am I gonna take, 20% of our whole marketing budget and dump it into a magazine on Barksdale? It's tough.
And where I would say to save your money there is to get in with the spouses, like figure out this, because there are quite a few spouses that are involved in the community. I know quite a few.
It feels like the people you meet are more often the spouses than the actual.
Yeah.
Well, that's because the husband's got to go, fly a B-52.
Yeah.
Okay.
The spouse had to figure out how to enjoy their time here.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky. Jamie, I never had to worry about her because she's like Sabrina, she's outgoing. She was going to find something. And she was a nurse too, and she worked.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah, a lot of them I've met like on soccer teams, that just a kid gets put on our soccer team and, so they're doing, and a lot of the time, I mean, the one I'm thinking of, the husband, we played 2 or 3 years with them and the husband was deployed probably 90% of that time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, getting in with a spouse, and I have to commend Gregory on this. When I was working for the Film Prize, we would give tickets to, he would use me to make sure that I was passing those out in a good way, but I would work with my husband at the squadrons to pass out these free tickets to people, whoever wanted to come. I also think the Film Prize was just getting started, and people were unsure of it. Oh, well, I'm not a big movie person. I don't want to come watch that festival. I don't want to come watch the movies. Or you'd have people that were big movie people and loved the free tickets. But I think offering tickets, military discounted tickets.
That's a big thing, the military discount, and making it where they feel they're invited to those events is probably the biggest thing you can do.
I think it'd be really cool, and I think the Shreveport Chamber is doing this, where they go and meet with and they meet with maybe the key spouses who are involved or in charge of the other spouses in the squadrons to tell them about what's going on in Shreveport and how they can get involved. I think the Shreveport
and the Bossier Chambers both do that with those key spouses.
So maybe it's a program where, like, people like you, people like Gregory go and speak to these spouses and say, here's what's going on, here are all the cool things. You know, people who are on fire for Shreveport, here are all the cool things that are happening in this city that you can get involved in. There's something for everybody here. There really is.
Yeah.
And I think you realize that. I realize that even more now living away and knowing that we'll probably come back. I mean, all roads lead to Barksdale. So knowing that we'll come back, Shreveport offers so much to everybody. And I just feel lucky enough to have been here for 9 years.
Right.
We always say there's a lot of people that end up in Shreveport not from here, and they are they are encouraging what they usually think of Shreveport.
Yeah.
I mean, I can think of a lot that like Shreveport and want to get back to Shreveport.
It's an easy place to live. It really is. I mean, there's
Compared to where you're living now.
Yeah, and I mean, I love where I live right now. There's a lot to do there. I mean, there's a lot in every category.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, you're in DC now. You're paying your dues. Okay. Now that you've been there, you've been there over a year. Okay, started your family. What would you bring back if you could say, "Man, all that over there"? What would you bring back to Shreveport?
You know, I think about that. I feel like we have this. My husband and I have this conversation once a week at least. Like, okay, it'd be really cool if Shreveport did this, but Shreveport has this. Obviously, besides the history and the plethora of museums that you have there, Shreveport's doing really well. I mean, you do have the museums. You have great concerts that come through Shreveport. You have great music venues. You do have good museums here. The one thing that I would bring back is probably better shopping.
I think that's a.
I want to see a DJ in a restaurant.
A DJ in a restaurant, yeah.
Every time I travel, that's the new thing. Every restaurant has a DJ in the restaurant.
I feel like that's like Miami, very
like,
Miami
I want
vibe.
a DJ in a restaurant and some turf.
Yeah.
Can I have some artificial turf and a DJ in a restaurant? I'm kind of okay right now.
I mean,
those are
They
my
have
two.
live music. Hey, listen, they've got live.
I know you recently said you visited the Reston Town Center.
Yes.
Okay. And I
In
always
Virginia.
felt like if we in Shreveport could build something just like the Reston Town Center with all those shops, all those restaurants, all centrally located with two major one anchor hotel and one anchor big, retail store on there, people would flock to that.
Shreveport doesn't have, and I talk about it a lot over the years, is like at some point the intention was good on having all this parking everywhere.
Yeah.
But it really
That's
messed
what
up
makes it so easy here.
It is.
Living in a
but
city.
it also
where
makes
there's
it where
no
there is
parking.
not one walkable shopping
Yes.
scenario in the
Right.
whole city. And there's so often that, I mean, when you talk about traveling to different places, I can name kind of the bar restaurant street, but I can also usually name the shopping street.
Right.
I mean, in here, we're so close to Dallas. There's great shopping there, but that's an expensive trip if you want to go shopping. You're not looking at less than $1,000 for the weekend if you're going and staying in a hotel just to go shop, right?
I know.
I mean, I was in Nashville and they had a shopping street. I think it was called 12A, and it was basically like Magazine Street in New Orleans, except condensed down. And it's really what
so
you.
it's that.
If you
That's what
took Line
Shreveport's
Avenue
missing.
and just accordioned it into 3 blocks, all those good shops, and you tighten them up, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
It's just
And
it's
you
too
and
spread.
you would spend all afternoon and eat there,
Eat.
and that's the way it is in
Eat and
Reston.
That would
Reston
be
Town
an
Center.
interesting. I wish, and when we talk about investing in culture, I don't think you can just sit back and hope that happens. I think there's got to be some leaders that start to encourage.
Right.
And Providence is a great example, once again, of building an area where you can go spend a day.
Yep. Who's to say that won't turn into something like that?
I think it
out
will.
there?
Well, the shopping
Trying to think
mall
of a
day, when we were kids, like everything was
Yeah.
about every city's shopping mall.
Right.
Right,
Well, that's dead.
No, malls, people aren't going to
Nobody
malls
cares
anymore.
about that. Now it's the shopping street.
It's the
Like,
destination.
It's King Street. It's,
It's-
12A. It's
absolutely.
Magazine. Whatever.
You've got that,
is.
and I do feel like Shreveport has, you say culture, they do have the culture. I feel like that is one thing that is getting there here. I also wish there was more to do that was outside other than just like eat and drink in the area. You know, I love, my husband and I love how many trails there are to go and hike right in the middle of the city in DC, and you don't even feel like you're in the city.
Well, that's another trend you're seeing in these cities, that Shreveport's got to decide, and they have to have somebody that will take the leadership role. And I've seen some drawings and stuff, but they're once again being done by individual citizens that are saying,
we
hey,
never
I'm
get
gonna blow
enough
some money, we should
momentum
make
in
this.
that space.
Yes.
And to me, you know, the one resource we really never take a full advantage of is the river. Okay,
Yeah.
and the riverfront. There's so much we could do down there.
But floods all the time.
Well,
name another city though that's river is as underutilized as Shreveport.
I don't think you can.
I mean,
I've
that's
looked at-
tough.
But it floods. I mean, you're constantly.
It's a river. If you can control it in other cities, we should be able to
Yeah,
control
that's
it.
Well, you know,
I mean, Bossier has the boardwalk on it.
Yeah.
I think there's
I know,
something
and
we can
that's-
do there. And
When was
I
the
think,
last time you've been to the boardwalk?
No.
Is there anything happening at the boardwalk?
I don't know of anything.
Don't get me talking about Bossier bad.
Okay.
on there.
I haven't.
Okay, we'll X
Well,
that
the
out.
last time I went to Bass Pro Shop. Okay.
Yeah, that's always a fun one.
Yeah,
you gotta
you
take the
know.
kid. You gotta go see Santa.
Yeah. So I went there, you know, and that's probably.
I mean, that's
it.
another thing that is, we're talking about, we've kind of pivoted into things that are happening across the country. It's such a difference. I remember my dad being so excited when like chain restaurants were coming to town. Well, now you can't depend on, that's not what people want. They
No.
want cool, locally owned,
Yep.
unique spots.
Right.
Which luckily, the
Shreveport
Shreveporter is doing
well.
that.
Yes. Shreveport is doing great. I mean, I went to Cypress by the Reveneer last night, and it was
Awesome.
10 o'clock by the time we left, and it was buzzing on a Thursday night. I mean, it didn't even, you didn't feel like you were in Shreveport. It's a great space, but I feel like with Zuzol and Fat Calf and all those little Provenance restaurants, there is plenty to eat here. You will never starve. I feel like I kept a constant 10 pounds on living here.
We're not far behind in that.
No.
Where we talk about 7 to 10 years behind culture of other cities, I'll say our food scene, which used to be that, has caught up a lot closer.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I think
would
that,
agree. You know,
yes, 100%. And you've got Mardi Gras too. That's what I miss so much. I mean, thankfully we have DC Mardi Gras.
We do.
So I get a little bit of that
Getting geared up for
Louisiana.
that real soon. Well, hopefully. I mean, we've got all our fingers crossed that, you know, Lance finishes his required tour where he's at, and you guys come back.
Trust us, we've got our fingers crossed for that too.
Okay, that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
And because you're a real asset to Shreveport, and I know you're up there in Washington D.C. For a little bit, but we want you back here home. All right.
Look, we're looking forward to hopefully coming back here.
All right. Well, Sabrina, thank you.
Thank you so much.
I'm glad we were able to do this.
Yes.
You were in
Absolutely.
town.
I hope I gave you guys a good little insight into this.
I hope so. I really hope that, you know, some Air Force members and their wives look at it and, hey, reach out to us.
Right.
Okay. And tell us what can we do to be better. Okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, from an economic development standpoint, you know, Dr. George and I look at it, we get told that 600 airmen a year transition out of the Air Force at Barksdale a year. And a major portion of them have spouses, okay? And so that's 1,200.
Yeah. That we
can keep here.
We got to keep them here. We have to make it to where there's jobs and culture,
the jobs.
Right.
okay, right here in Shreveport, that they don't have to go back home.
Yeah.
They make this home, and that's what we want.
The key to the spouses is getting them in to a job that hopefully gets them involved in the community, that has them meeting friends. I mean, for me, I tell Lance all the time, it's going to be hard for us to move anywhere else after our time in the military because we've made all of our friends here. our kids, when we come back, are going to go to school here, and they're going to make their friends here. Do you really want to pick up and go just start over somewhere new?
That's hard.
At this stage in life. And so getting in.
Well, we had John Ellis on in another episode.
Yeah.
Okay. And he made that call. He made the call. Hey, if we're going to stay here and our children start high school, okay, we're staying.
Yeah.
I didn't make that call. My oldest son went to 3 high schools. I would never do that to another child. Now he did well, went off to college.
Makes them stronger.
Yeah, definitely.
What's his name?
William Smith, and he's
William Davis. Sorry that he moved you around.
I am.
On the record, right?
Yeah,
Publicly personal.
yeah. But I wouldn't do that again. Okay, and I definitely didn't do it to my girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a tough decision that a lot of military families have to make, how they're going to do that. But I want Shreveport-Bossier to be the place. If you got to make that decision, okay, I want you to make that decision to be here, and I want a job for you. I want you to transition out of the Air Force. I want you to transition right into that job and stay here.
Right.
Okay? Because it makes us a better community. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
See you next time.